Danville. I'm also a resident of Danville, and I'm very concerned about some of the things that are happening in Danville and around the Bay Area. And so I wanted to share some of this information with you because I think that it's an important disclosure measure that we need to know about, because things are changing. There's a regional plan that's being put in place called the One Bay Area Plan, and that plan is for 9 counties. Sorry. That plan is the same plan. It's a cookie cutter solution for 9 Bay Area counties, 101 cities, and it calls for high density housing everywhere. So this plan is actually going to be adopted for the first time. We've never had a regional plan in place. This is the first time this plan will be adopted. It will be adopted in June of 2013, this June. It's a radical plan to transform our suburban neighborhoods into high-density housing in PDAs, priority development areas. It links transportation to land use. The idea behind this plan is that to reduce global warming, we need to get out of our single-family residential homes, we need to get out of our cars, and the new model for development will be high-density housing next to transit. The problem is that Danville is not a transit hub. Danville is 7 miles from the nearest transit station. So we don't even qualify for a PDA status, a priority development area status. However, Danville is targeted and has been given that status by the One Bay Area group. The regional planning group is called ABEG, the Association of Bay Area Governments. It's an unelected, unaccountable body, and there are elected officials appointed to these bodies, but we don't, as taxpayers, elect them to do this. And this is a first time ever plan, and transportation is also included in that. So it's a cookie cutter solution. Now, part of this plan is low income housing, okay, which is a mandate. So the state has been doing this since the 1980s. This is a particular statute that we have been following, and these are the regional housing needs allocations. Each community is given every 8 years an allocation of low income or very low income housing, and they must locate areas within their city to rezone to accommodate that. So this is the actual regional housing needs allocation that you see here. Over in the blue area, I have Danville highlighted. 554 units is our 2014 to 2022 allocation. Of that, over to the left, 194 and 111 will be very low to low income. And what does that mean? The median income for the county is around $67,000. So 50% below that and lower would be considered very low, and then on up. Now these have to be put into, these allocations seem very high for a small town like Danville, so we'd like to be able to have our city challenge it. But these are the allocations that are being placed upon this town. And every 8 years, those allocations will increase. So you can see that 2007 to 2014, right next to that, it was 583 units. So our towns are having to look for areas to rezone. This is typically done within the downtown areas. So instead of doing horizontal building and redevelopment, most of the redevelopment is going to be vertical now. There's still redevelopment going on, it's just going to be a different format, and that's what's happening. And so, you know, we need to know as realtors what's going on, where this is happening. The allocations will keep coming every 8 years. I don't know how Danville is going to be able to deal with allocations once we run out of areas to rezone. The entire downtown of Danville is a priority development area, which means that is the target area for rezoning to mixed multi-use. When I say mixed multi-use, I'm talking about a minimum of 20 units per acre. Okay, that's what is being contemplated. With higher densities, developers will get bonuses for higher densities and lower incomes. They will also be able to violate certain ordinances like height limitations, setbacks, and parking. So some of the safeguards that we've had at local city levels are actually going to be options for developers to violate those. So this is important changes, because if people live outside or they're buying property outside of this priority development area or near it, their property values are going to be affected. And the San Ramon and the unincorporated area values are here as well. So you can see that San Ramon's allocation for affordable housing, which is a mixture of very low, low income, etc., for 2014 to 2022 is 1,283 units, and close to 700 of those are very low income and low income housing. Okay, go on. Now, a priority development area is required if a city wants to get transportation funds. I mean, here's the deal with the regional plan. This is a voluntary plan. Cities can opt in by creating a priority development area in their town, which is basically drawing a target area where this high-density housing will be located. If cities don't want to participate, they don't have to. SB 375, the statute states that our local general plans do not have to be consistent with this general plan. The problem is, if we don't go along with it, our local cities will not get their transportation funds. It will be withheld. So it's kind of like, we're damned if we do, damned if we don't. We kind of have to take the money, and that's what's happening with a lot of this. You can see that Danville is an entire PDA, the downtown area, and most of San Ramon on the east side is a priority development area. Those are the areas over the next 20 to 25 years that will be rezoned to mixed multi-use. This is where most of the development will occur. Like I said, it could be anywhere from 3, 4, 6-story buildings with typically retail space below and housing above. Now, in Danville, these are the target areas, the areas that they're looking at right now. They're actually looking to rezone up to 35 acres, and this is becoming a huge topic in Danville. You may have seen it in the news, you may have heard about it. We've been flyering the neighborhood. We're actually holding our own town halls. One of our town halls is tonight. The next one is next week at the Veterans Hall at 7:30 p.m. if you would like to attend to hear more about this whole issue. But these are the areas that they're looking at, 35 acres to rezone. Now they only have to, the town of Danville only has to technically rezone 9.6 acres in order to be in compliance with the current regional housing needs allocation that I just showed you. But they're contemplating rezoning 35 acres. Many of those locations are businesses. So the Padva area is scheduled to be rezoned. The bowling alley was scheduled to be rezoned, and they've since taken that off of the list. Darby Plaza on El Cerro and El Pintado was scheduled to be a 55-unit low-income development, and that has now been taken off of the list. That does not mean that these properties will not go back on the list. That just means that they were taken off because people are seriously up in arms about what's happening. We don't have to have a priority development area status. We can handle low-income housing in many different ways. We could do in-law units. We can do many different things. The whole point of this is not that we shouldn't help do our fair share. The whole point of this is that we're getting huge allocations that we can't possibly meet. And the other thing is that the local towns are not really getting a say in how this should be handled. And that's really what this is about, the choice. Because ultimately, over the next 20 years, if we do draw targets around our towns like this and have to rezone every 8 years in order to accommodate this type of development, our town will no longer be a small town. And if the whole point is to reduce greenhouse gases, and we have no transit, so we are a commuter town, and so is San Ramon. San Ramon doesn't have a BART station. So adding high-density housing into the town will simply add more traffic, more congestion, more pollution. And the point is local control. So when regional bodies are making these decisions, what we're saying is we would like our town to stand up for us and say no to this. So these are the areas that they're contemplating of rezoning. If you want to find out more about this, let me know. I can talk to you offline. Is there one more slide after this? Just this. Okay, and then just to let you know, I mean, it's a complicated issue. Like I said, there's a lot to this, but tonight and Wednesday, next Wednesday, the 21st and the 27th, at our own cost, citizens of Danville are putting on a town hall so that the people of Danville and San Ramon and Alamo and whoever wants to, if you're interested about finding out what's going on, can come to that meeting. Again, it's at the Veterans Memorial Town Hall at 7:30 to 8:30 tonight. Doors open at 7. So, thank you very much.
Obviously, Heather is extremely knowledgeable, so thank you so much. That's a fantastic presentation.
This is something that we want people to know about. Apparently, the city council is going to hear this. It's moved on to the city council, and March 5th is a big day to show up at the Danville City Council meeting, March 5th, because that's when they are going to, it's been moved now from planning to the city council. We need 1,000 people showing up, because 350 people showing up continually is just not enough for them. And they need to hear that, you know, we want to have local control. The whole point of Danville and other towns incorporating was to get away from the county telling everybody what to do. So now that they're incorporated, they're now giving up their control voluntarily to unelected regional boards and bodies, which is even worse, because now these bodies are making the decisions, and there's $277 billion at stake. These regional bodies are getting federal grant money to the tune of $277 billion to create this plan.
I'd like to just clarify something.
Oh, sure.
Here. So there's three things. Write a letter to your town council members. Ask that the PDA be removed from downtown Danville. Ask that the RENA allocations be challenged because they're double what even the state finance department is producing for numbers. That needs to be challenged. And lastly is to remove ourselves from this regional, from ABAG. So there's three things right there that you can ask your town council to do.
There's, you know, I've seen maybe a handful of people actually for the plan when most of the, you know, hundreds are coming out against it. Right and left. This is not a right or left issue. This is just simply not right for our town. And that's really what this is about. It's common sense. Money is always behind it. That's the answer. The lunch. Now we are the meal. And we need to decide for ourselves. And so read the general plan. You know, you may like it. That's fine. Show up and you know, support it. But this is what's happening, and a lot of people feel that this is something that we just want local control, and that's really what we want, choice. So,
can we give a round of applause? I think one, if you're a resident, it's hugely important. Two, we are also in all of these communities. This is just one. The next one that pops up, whether or not it be Pleasant Hill or it be Dublin, as a community, we should all be getting involved because it affects all of us, especially as real estate professionals, either as agents and or affiliates. End of story. So that's